my elbow literally like went out this way. So the universe decided to break my elbow and everything stopped. You might feel okay in the moment, but then later on you end up burning out. And hello everybody, this is Carlos again. Thank you for coming to my channel, really appreciate it. I just wanted to talk about some stuff today and just get this vlog channel going. I'm not sure if you've already seen my first video. Of course, I feel like, I don't know, I just needed to get something out there. You know what I mean? I can't really continue to let this perfectionist thing get to me, even though I'm not really a perfectionist. I'm always just go with the flow kind of thing. But when it comes to creating videos and, you know, projects and stuff like that, I tend to procrastinate all the time. If you feel the same way, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'd like to engage with more people. If you're new or if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel if you feel compelled to. If not, that's okay. Feel free to leave a comment, anything that you think I can improve, or just a general comment. Anything is okay, and just want to get better. So in my first video, I talked about how I had spine surgery when I was 16. It was pretty intense. I didn't really elaborate. I just really wanted just to put something out there. It was really, really humbling. I've learned so much and I can't wait to share everything with you guys. I've learned a lot about myself, physically, mentally, also the world, the universe, the construct of time. When they tell you that your recovery is gonna be a year or more, then that's something that you kind of don't really know how to process, and it just makes you realize, what? I'm not gonna feel normal for a year at least. And mind you, I'm not normal now. I would say that it's a disability. I don't always feel the same. Some days are better than others. I have constant pain. For the most part, my brain's just learned to ignore it, and I use cannabis to help with the pain, which I can talk more about later. If you guys are interested, just let me know, engage in the comments. Sometimes I'll use ibuprofen if it's really, really bad, but for now, I just kind of wanted to check in and just elaborate a little more on my spine surgery. So if you haven't seen it, you can go ahead and check it out, and I'll put like a card here. I have an Instagram if you care to follow my journey. I'm working on posting a lot more. I'll put that right here if you can go ahead and check me out, whatever. And you can send me messages, DMs. I try to respond to everybody. I've never really been a fan of pain medication. You know, it just always made me feel kind of weird. I've used mostly caffeine, which is a natural painkiller. I've been prescribed muscle relaxers, Robaxin, Norco, all of these things. I don't really like how they make me feel. The Norcos really mess with my brain chemistry, and I feel like I snap at people after, you know, it's kind of wears off or whatever. Robaxin is another muscle relaxer that I've tried. That one just really gave me really, really bad heartburn, and eventually, like, I was needing to take like 3 at a time, which is not good. I mean, to me, it's not good. I don't want to have to take 3 muscle relaxers in a day just to feel good. So I stopped taking those. The heartburn was really, really bad. I couldn't get any relief. I took sal de uva. If you're Latin and you know what that is. If you're not, it's pretty much like Alka-Seltzer. It's just sodium bicarbonate in a effervescent kind of powder. Anything I've tried tons, like all kinds of things. But I think it's just a side effect of that medication. So I had to stop taking it. I didn't like it. The doctor prescribed me muscle relaxer, which is called baclofen. It's used for a lot of other diseases or a lot of other like conditions. I didn't like how that one made me feel either, so I stopped taking it as well. At this point, it's just kind of trial and error. I've had my spine issues since I was really young. I found out I had really bad scoliosis when I was in like 10th grade. I don't know if you guys remember, but in middle school they check you for scoliosis. I got checked for scoliosis. They, 7th or was it 8th grade, you bend over and they just kind of check your spine to make sure it's not crooked. So for me, when they checked me, my right side was a little bit elevated, so they thought that was a little concerning. They gave me a referral, and at that time I had Kaiser, so my mom took me to the Kaiser. They did x-rays and everything, and they said if we see anything abnormal or if anything comes up, we'll give you a call. And that was that. They never gave me a call. I assumed everything was okay, and I just went on about my life. Now, fast forward to my sophomore year of high school, my back pain was just getting really, really bad. So bad that I finally decided to tell my mom. I'm not one to complain or tell people what I'm feeling, which I'm also working on. So I was noticing more and more that my right side, you know, under my rib cage was like really indented. Now I was like, well, it's me, right? So you only know what you know, and you kind of think it's normal. You don't really think about, you know, if other people have an indent. But at that point in 10th grade, my back pain was just really bad, and I couldn't get any relief. I had that feeling, you know, that feeling that you want to crack your back. That feeling, it was just terrible. It's constant. Fuck, I forgot to turn off my fan, and you can probably hear it. It's probably really loud. So I turned off my fan. You can probably hear me a lot better now, but I'm hot as hell. So I was talking a little bit about how I've been going through a lot with like my pain management. I think that's it about that. If you guys have any more questions about my spine surgery, feel free to ask me. Now, that happened in 2006, right before I graduated high school. So after high school, I went straight to college. It took me about 5 years to finish. So if you're taking a little while to finish college, it's okay. Take as long as you need. There's no rush. Once I graduated, it was August 2012, and my birthday is on August 10th. So the weekend before my birthday, me and my roommates decided to go to a brunch, like a beer bust. If you are familiar with the LA area, there's a bar in LA called Fault Line, and they do a beer bust, where it's like just like a bunch of people outside, and they had like $2 Bud Light beers or whatever. So we're like drinking, having a good time. I did get a little drunk, but I was there the whole time. I didn't black out or anything. I was definitely like coherent. So everything was good. It was fine. We went home pretty early. So I had to go to work Monday, right? So it was Monday. I get up to go to work and I'm running late. So I was rushing a little bit. I lived in an apartment building, and the floor was like a polished concrete. So it was pretty slippery, but I was rushing a little bit, so I turned the corner and I slipped and fell. Like my whole body weight like fell on my elbow. So like I turned the corner and my whole like my feet just went from under me and I landed on my elbow, and I don't know if you can see that, but I have a pretty gnarly scar there. It looks worse than it feels. At the time it was really, really bad. I cannot even explain the amount of pain that I had when I broke my elbow. Like I'll put a picture of the x-ray. My elbow literally like went out this way, so they had to put a pin in it to put it back. So that happened on August 6th. My birthday was August 10th, and of course they didn't have any surgeons available until the week after. So August 2012, birthday, I was in excruciating pain. I had a splint on, no cast, and I was just laying in bed in this fog of Vicodin and cigarettes. I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, and I just went into this really dark place after that. So I had the surgery, everything went well. It was an outpatient surgery. I was out the same day. The recovery for that was really really bad too. You don't realize how much you use something until it's taken away from you. I could not put on my shoes for the life of me. I could not put on my underwear. I could not put on clothes. It's really hard with one hand. I couldn't drive at all. My arm was like this, and like I only had one arm, so I couldn't drive anywhere. I was stuck at home. I was literally watching Housewives every single day, and it was amazing. I love Housewives, but I was just like inundated with Housewives. Bravo was my shit, and taking Vicodin, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed at the same time, and also drinking. I would get like a box of wine or a bottle of vodka. I wouldn't drink all of it at once, but I would drink, you know, more than I should have, especially taking medication. Okay, so I switched over to my phone. So it's really hot right now. Hey Siri, what's the temperature?
It's about 84 degrees outside.
So I'm literally sweating. I don't have any AC, so sorry if I'm super shiny. I have my fan on, but I should actually turn it off so I can see what the audio sounds like. Okay, I was talking about how I broke my elbow. So I went into this really, really dark place. I felt really depressed, but I didn't even know at the time. Now, fast forward after my surgery, that was in August. Come October, we decided to move. It was literally like 2 blocks down. We moved, and now we're in a 3-bedroom townhouse, which was a pretty sweet deal. The rent was super cheap. I think I was paying like less than $600 a month. So I was kind of set, but my roommate was very negative. Both of them were pretty negative, and they were always fighting. And so we moved, which was crazy because moving is one of the top stressors in your life. So I had just broken my elbow, went through a really painful surgery and a painful recovery. So I wasn't really helping. It was October. I was feeling a little bit better. My roommate saw me kind of doing better, so like they would expect me to do a little bit more around, but I'm like, my elbow still hurts. Like it was just like 2 months ago. It was August to October. I was there October, November, December, and I was working really hard to catch up with my bills. I had a lot of bills at that time. I had my car note, phone bill, rent, everything that, like, you know, normal stuff. And while I was in college, I was getting loans and grants, so I was able to, you know, pay everything up front and be good for the year and just not worry about it. So I graduated, broke my elbow, had surgery, or birthday, then surgery, and then we moved. So once we moved, we were there for a cool couple months, and I was doing okay. I was just not really hanging out with my roommates because I was just going through a really hard phase, I guess. It was like a transition for me. Looking back now, I can, you know, kind of recognize why or what. It was just the universe needed to make me slow down. I needed to slow down. I wasn't slowing down on my own. I remember. So I was working 3 jobs. I was working at Integrity full-time, 8 to 5, and then I would go to the Apple store from like 5:30 to 10:30. That day that I broke my elbow, it was a Monday, and I remember like, okay, today's the day we're gonna, you know, start back up, you know, go to the gym every day, blah, blah, blah. It's my birthday coming up. So the universe decided to put that to a stop. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating right. One day my roommate was walking by or something. He's like, why are you being antisocial? Or I bet you look tired. Like, you look really tired and you never look tired. So the universe slowed me down. I was doing 3 jobs. I was working at Integrity. I was working at the Apple store. If any of you are familiar with World Financial Group, I was also doing that part-time. I was in the process of getting my life insurance license, which I have now. But at that time in 2012, I was just trying to do everything. I really wanted to establish a career. I wanted to be something. I wanted to make money. Like, I was very money motivated. But in turn, I wasn't taking care of myself like I should have. So the universe decided to break my elbow, and everything stopped. I stopped working, everything. So if I've learned anything is to not run yourself dry, try not to burn out. You might feel okay in the moment, but then later on you end up burning out, and that's what I was doing. I was okay in the moment, but I was still dealing with my back issues. I was younger then, so I was managing it more. I was like caffeine all the time. I would literally drink like 2 Rockstars a day. Nicotine from the cigarettes is also kind of like a painkiller too, so I was like smoking cigarettes all the time, and then I stopped. I decided to go back to work because I could not pay my bills on the disability that I was getting. It was like $100 a week. I was not able to live on that. I really couldn't pay my rent or anything like that. So I decided to go back to work. I told the doctor I really needed a note to go back to work, and he did. So I went back to work before I was supposed to. I was working at the Apple store. Now, I didn't go back to the integrity job. As far as WFG goes, I was in the process of getting my license, which I stopped when I broke my elbow. I worked part-time at the Apple store, and I decided to go back early because I needed to pay my bills. So I went back to work. I was working really hard to catch up. I was trying to pick up hours, and I was trying not to. At that point, I didn't realize like what I was learning, right? Like I didn't realize that the universe was speaking to me in a way there, like I needed to slow down. But I was like, all right, let's get back to it. I was trying to recover from this damn surgery because I was behind on all my bills. I was behind on all my credit cards, everything. So at the time, I was in this really dark place, right? So I was reading books. I was trying to get better. I was like really trying to get away from all the negativity, and it was just I felt like I wasn't working in the environment that I was in. I think it was like January 2013, and I decided to move. So I was there from January to, I want to say I was there until like September, October 2013. I had a good job. I was up north. I was making okay money, but with paying the rent here, I wasn't able to save as much as I wanted to. And I was sending my mom money, right? I was helping and everything, but I felt helpless, like I couldn't do anything from over there. One of my best friends, his name's JP, we were just like, we're not meant to live together. We were just kind of fighting all the time. I felt like I had no privacy. I ended up in another, I guess I was still in the same dark place. Like the environment helped, but it was just like my internal state was the same. And so I would work 40 hours a week. I would go to work, come home, watch TV, smoke weed, and just veg out. I was depressed again because of the fact that I had no privacy, and then the stuff going on at home. I took my mom and my sister getting laid off as a sign that I needed to move back. So I did. I put in a request to transfer back. Fast forward, I got an interview with Pasadena, and I decided to accept the part-time offer, and it was less pay, which was kind of shitty, but I was home. I was close to home. I didn't have, rent really, and I was helping my mom and my sister, and me being close just helped them feel more secure, I guess, especially my mom. I didn't have a room, right, because my cousin was renting my old room, or my current room, and my sister was in another room, and my mom was in the main room. I'm a big guy, so I was living on a twin air mattress. It was just not ideal, and especially with my spine surgery stuff that I was telling you guys about, it was just constant uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. I was turning, everything. My mom got a job. She applied for Metro. So she was a bus driver, and she moved up pretty quickly. It was a lot of work for her. My sister got a job too. She was like a temp or something with like office services, and she was good after that. So I was applying for any full-time position because I knew that I needed it, right? I needed the benefits. I needed the money to help my family and all that stuff. I applied for the backstage, which was at the time back of house, which is like the stock room kind of thing. I applied for the business team. Like I applied for other stores. So I literally did like 6 interviews in 7 months, which was pretty intense. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. So that happened, and then right before I decided to leave Apple. So I was applying to everything and anything that I could apply for. So I went on Craigslist, and I was applying for all kinds of jobs. And at the time, I got an email back from this district manager at Leslie's Pool Supplies. So I went to go do interviews. I think I had like 3 interviews in one day, one time, which was pretty intense. I went for an interview for Leslie's Pool Supplies at the store in Simi Valley. That's where the interview was. The interview went really well. I'm very professional. I'm very well spoken. I can learn anything, and I learned pretty quickly. So he really liked me, and he let me know that he wanted to do a second interview with his store manager in Burbank. I got offered the job right away, and I quit Apple and I started in Burbank at the Leslie's Pool Supplies. I got very in tune with my spiritual side. I was getting, yeah, signs from spirit, and maybe it was my grandma and my grandpa watching over me, but like anyone that's on the other side or anything, I believe sees things as loving and neutral as possible. And when I worked at Leslie's Pool Supplies, I would literally work open to close by myself. So if like there was 2 customers in there, I was already outnumbered. But it was really slow most of the time. Shout out to my old manager, Jackie, because she was really, really awesome. She was amazing, and we had this really close relationship, but it was also very, like, she was my manager, so we were able to kind of like, I don't know, it was a really great relationship, work-wise and friendship-wise. We didn't really keep in touch after I left, but I ended up leaving because it was very, very physical. The manual labor was very tough. Like, I would have to unload pallets of buckets of chlorine. 40-pound buckets of chlorine, but like my booty was looking popping because I was like squatting and lifting these freaking 40-pound chlorine buckets. And I got a job at the Friar Tuck's place, which was fun too. I was selling and renting out tuxedos and stuff for weddings and proms and homecomings and all that stuff, and it was a really good job. I had a lot of fun there. It was pretty slow most of the time, but I was getting paid a lot less than I was getting paid at Leslie's, but I was driving less. So if you could imagine driving from San Gabriel to Tarzana every day and back in the middle of rush hour traffic. So like I would open the store, so I was in the middle of all the traffic, so 2 hours there, and then I would leave like at 6 or 7, I think it was, and more traffic to get home. So it was like 4 hours. I was working 10 hours and like driving 4 hours, so it was just like too much. I was making it work, but most of the money I was spending it on gas, right? So I decided to take the job at Friar Tuck's. I was working at Friar Tuck's for a while. I wasn't getting paid as much as I was at Leslie's, but it was closer, so I was saving money on gas. So it was less pay, but it was closer, so I kind of evened out. But I still was having trouble paying all my bills. So after a few months, I decided to go back to Apple. So I was working at Apple and Friar Tuck shop at the same time. So my mom was like getting ready to move, and I decided to call out from Friars, and it was like homecoming season, so it's kind of like Christmas for retail kind of thing for them, and it's like blackout, like you can't call out or anything, like it's their super busy season. So I called out and I was like, what, I'm sick, or like my mom's moving. Like I forgot exactly what I said, but it was an issue, and they were trying to write me up afterwards. So it was like the new manager and the district manager or whatever was there, and they were like talking to me, and they're like, well, you can't like call out. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Like my mom's moving, it's a job, like we have legal rights and stuff. You can call out if you're sick or if you need to. So they were trying to write me up, and I was like, you know what, that's it, like I'm done, like I'm gonna resign, like I quit, like it's fine, I don't need to deal with this stuff. Like the situation, it felt very attacky because it was these 2 ladies against me, and I was just like over it. Like I was just very heated, and I just needed to get out of there. So I decided to quit, and I quit. And I was working at the Apple store part-time by itself, which honestly, I was making the part-time working at Apple part-time, I was making the same amount working full-time at these other places. So I went back to Apple and let go of Friar. Well, I was already at Apple, and I let go of Friar, so that I let them go. Eventually I got full-time, even though, well, I went from sales to tech when I came back, so I was on the tech side, and they were gaining more positions, so I decided to apply, and eventually I got a full-time tech position. Like I learned that you have to show the employer you being there for 40 hours a week is gonna be worth it for them, right? So I was doing more appointments than all the full-timers. Like I was just crushing it, I was killing it. So I got full-time. Working full-time in any job, I feel like, is a lot to handle. And it's really hard to have a work-life balance, especially in retail when the hours change so much as far as like scheduling. The earliest I would start is 9:30, and the latest I would start was 1, so, or 12. It was like, so I couldn't really get a nice routine going, a work-life balance kind of thing. It's really hard because no matter what, I would just wake up before I had to go to work, right? So like whether that was at 7:30 because I had to be there at 9:30, or to wake up at 10:30 because I had to be there at 12:30 or something, you know? And so I decided to go to part-time. And then I met this wonderful, wonderful woman, Gisela. She worked at WFG, or she's a senior marketing director for WFG. And when she was telling me about it, I was like, that kind of sounds familiar. I think I did that before. I went through the licensing courses, I took the test, got my license, everything, and I made a decision to go from full-time to part-time at Apple because it was just a lot, and I really wanted, like, I felt like I was stuck. Like, no matter how much I worked, I needed more money. So it was really enticing with WFG because there's no pay cap. You literally decide how much you make depending on how much you decide to work. It's hard, but it can be really rewarding. So I decided to go part-time, and I did, and I got my license, my accident, health, and life license, and I was making pretty good money. I made a cool couple thousand, like, pretty quickly. It was just a lot of like networking kind of thing and calling people and like always trying to get new contacts and recruiting, and it was kind of stressful as well. I'm like, okay, if God brought this to me, or the universe brought this to me a second time in my life, maybe I should take a good look at it. So I did, and I made it work. And I went part-time for Apple, and then I was doing part-time with WFG. And then one of my friends, she was doing Mary Kay, and I was interested in their business model, and it was very similar to how WFG kind of does their thing. And I decided to join Mary Kay too, and I was a Mary Kay consultant for a while, and I made like $600 in my first month, which was great. But in order to stay active, you have to have like consistent sales within a 3-month rolling period or something like that, which I didn't. I ended up like not selling as much, so I stopped, but I learned a lot. With WFG, it just got really overwhelming, I guess. I just felt like I was all over the place. Last year in April, my license expired and I didn't renew it right away. So I got terminated from that. But now I renewed my license now, so I'm fully licensed in California. So if you need any help, just let me know. I mean, even if it's not from me, I can refer you to somebody. But I decided to just let that go, and I was just doing part-time Apple, and yeah, I was happy because I had more time to myself. I was happy that I wasn't working full-time. I was not part-time, and I mean, every year they give us a raise, so the pay like was okay, and yeah, so it just kind of all kind of worked out. Yeah, everything was just kind of falling into place, you could say. As it turns out, I was happy with my part-time job at Apple. I was getting paid enough to live okay. So I live in my mom's house, and we have I have a roommate that we rent out my mom's old room to, and then we have like a back house that we have tenants in. So most of the mortgage is taken care of with the renters, and me and my sister just kind of split the rest and the bills and stuff. So I was okay on a part-time salary, and once I paid off my car, it was even better because I was able to catch up on my credit card. And so I was working part-time at Apple. Love the people that I work with. At the end of the day, I was like, I'm not gonna put 110% for some, like, being with WFG, I learned that you need to be your own advocate. Like, they're not gonna care about you more than you care about yourself. So you really need to be your own advocate. And I was in the place where I got tired of giving 110% for someone else and making someone else rich when I can give 110% to my own projects and possibly have my own business, which is what WFG really taught me, is to get from that employee mindset to that like self-employed entrepreneur kind of mindset. I realized that I was working so hard to make someone else rich, And I didn't like that. I want to be rich. I want to have choices. I want to have enough money to make choices and, live a good life. With my back issues and everything, sometimes it's hard. Some days are better than others. Some days I have to be in bed all day. Some days I'm totally fine. So I spoke to my manager about it, and she knew about my situation. She suggested that I look into an intermittent leave of absence where I have a medical condition, so it'll excuse me from my call outs or being late. So I called in and went to the doctor, and I mean, the doctors never really know what to do with me because I'm such a rare case, I guess. I've asked the doctor, I'm like, so have you had any patients like me? He's like, no, like that's rare. I got approved for the intermittent leave of absence, so I was excused for my lates and tardies. I was working enough to pay all my bills, and I didn't really care about my job like I used to. I just feel like I don't want to give my entire life force to a job, 40 hours a week, or even if it was part-time. It's like y'all don't care about me. If something happens to me, you're gonna replace me right away. Like I'm just a number to you. Like even though the culture there is very caring and all that stuff, it's great. But at the end of the day, it's still retail and it's a job and you're working to make someone else rich. I have my degree in psychology. I'm not a licensed therapist, right? But I mean, it's pretty much therapy when you're in a tech appointment, when you're helping someone with their phone. Like that's their life. Honestly, I don't even know my pay rate right now, but because it doesn't matter. I mean, I make enough to pay my bills. Well, at this point, I'm currently on disability, which I'll get a little more into maybe in another video because this one's getting really long. So I decided to do more for myself. I was doing WFG. It's kind of like you're your own business and you work towards making how much money you want to make, which is something it's a great concept, but it's just hard work, especially when you're young. In the insurance business, trying to gain credibility, it's pretty tough. But I did pretty well for myself. And I mean, in the future, who knows, maybe it's gonna flourish even more, and maybe this is a platform that I can use to share knowledge about that, because I think everyone should have life insurance, not just old people. Like if anything, young people should have life insurance more than old people, because like it's cheaper when you're young. You're healthiest you're ever going to be and the youngest you're ever going to be right now. So insurance is going to be cheaper right now. When I got my life insurance, everything was fine. They request your medical records and then they do a blood draw, so everything came out great and I got approved, so I'm grateful. Everyone that I speak to is very like, oh, but that's your job, or like everyone gives 110% to their 40 hour a week job, and it's just they get burned out and then they get drunk for the weekend to forget it, and then they start over again on Monday, and it's just too much. I can't see myself living like that. You have to recognize your gifts. You have to recognize your talents. And for me, I feel like my gift is being personable. I'm able to communicate with people, and I'm articulate and well-spoken, and I have so much life experience. I just kind of stopped. I stopped doing WFG. I was working part-time at Apple, and the main reason why I'm still there is because of the people. The people that I work with are awesome, amazing, talented, wonderful human beings. Some of my best friends came out of me working at the Apple store. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. I'm currently on disability because I experienced a ruptured brain aneurysm in February. Thank God I'm here. Thank God, I'm so grateful that I don't have any real brain damage. I don't have any deficits. I can move my fingers, my arms, my legs. I can walk fine. I can speak fine. My memory is pretty much there, and if it's not, then I wouldn't know. Yeah, I'm super grateful, and I'm currently on disability, and I decided to start recording myself and share my story, because one day I'm not gonna be here, and maybe this will help someone else in the future. And if you're going through any kind of medical issues, just know that you're not alone, and you can always reach out. You can reach out to me if you want to. You can DM me, Instagram comments. I understand how it is, and if you're going through any kind of medical conditions or medical issues, like, don't be afraid to speak up. I'm still learning, but I'm starting to speak up more. You don't want to say no or look like you're being lazy or something, like if someone asks you to do something, but at the end of the day, it's your life and it's your body and you need to preserve it. So I've gotten a lot more comfortable with saying no to certain things. I'm just a little more conscious of what I'm exerting my energy towards and what I'm allowing my body to do, because at the end of the day, it's going to be hard for me to recover. So if you're going through any medical conditions, please feel free to reach out or look up your local like hotline or helpline, and just look for help and don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes I guess my pride or my ego won't let me ask for help, but you just have to put it aside. Like sometimes you're not gonna have a choice. This last time when I was in the hospital, I was, yeah, it was really hard for me to kind of let go and let the nurses do their jobs, but I did, and you know, everything worked out, and it really humbles you to know that you're just human and you're just trying to make it just like everybody else. For my next video, I'll go into more detail about what happened with my brain aneurysm and how I've recovered from it, which, I mean, you can see me now and I'm so grateful. It's like a miracle that I'm sitting here in front of you, but it's not without its challenges, and I just have to take it slow, take it easy, and try not to stress too much. If you guys want to know more about anything that I talked about today, I know I'm kind of all over the place, please feel free to engage, comment, message me, and I'll reach out or, you know, make more videos like this. But yeah, just know that you're not alone, and if you're going through any kind of medical conditions, just ask for help if you need it. And if you're not going through any medical conditions, just be aware that there's people around you that may not be telling you, and just be kind. Just be kind. All right, y'all. So this is the end of my video. So remember to always love yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to other people. You don't know what anyone else is going through, just like you're going through things that other people don't know about. Let's spread kindness and let's connect. So if you like this video and you want to know more about me and my experiences, and you can like and subscribe to my page. I just want to say that if you're going through something, be kind to yourself. It's really important to try and love yourself and be kind to yourself. I'm working on that also every day. My journey towards self-love is ongoing, and I'm glad to share it, and I'm glad that you're a part of it. So if you guys want to know more, let me know what you think in the comments, and let's engage. Let's talk. If you guys want to know anything else about anything in the story, let me know and I can make another video about it and get a little more into detail with it. But for the most part, it's been a long road of self-love and acceptance and medical, mental, physical, mental, spiritual enlightening. I know I didn't really talk a lot about my spiritual side. I would love to get into that a little more later. I just kind of wanted to get, you know, a brief story, brief introduction, even though this video is getting a little long. I just want to say, let's do this. Let's walk around the world with love. Let's be kind to people. Let's be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself, especially yourself, because you need to be able to be kind to yourself so you can spread that kindness to other people. And if you don't love yourself right now, that's okay. Like, accept that. Don't be hard on yourself for not loving yourself, because then that just turns into more negativity. Just accept yourself right now, even if you don't love yourself, and just be aware and have the intention to work towards it. If the intention is there, then the rest of it will follow. I'm a firm believer in that. If you decide to create an intention right now, it'll work out. As long as the intent is there, it'll work out. If you don't have that intention, then it's not gonna work out. And it is what it is. Let's just spread kindness and love and joy. And I'll talk more about those things in other videos. But yeah, if you want to know more, just click on one of these videos. Bye.